Welcome to CC Writes. My name is CC Lepke, and today is day 11 of NaNoWriMo, and I'm feeling pumped. I feel pretty good about today. I think that I'm going to be able to get some good writing done and do everything that I need to do to make the story as nice as I want it to be. My plan for today is, yesterday, what I had written was that the characters are sort of gathering their resources so that they can go and save fairies from a slave trader. They're going to try and sell a bunch of stuff so that they can get money for it. This is going to do two things in my story that I'm pretty excited about. It's going to get my characters into trouble, for one thing, but it's also going to open a door for my main character to pursue a dream that she hadn't yet thought was possible for her. So I'm excited about the possibilities for today, and I'm definitely ready to get down to it. Last time I had been a little bit worried about getting in the conflict between the main character and her sister about the main character wanting to go to the Magic University, and I think that this time I'm starting to put that in and make it more obvious that there's some tension between them regarding that. Being able to include that thread into the story, it's really nice that I do feel like I'm getting on track for that sort of stuff. I'm reading The Dream Thieves now. I forgot how much I loved this book. There are so many great parts of it that I just love, especially the language that the writer uses to describe things, and how it feels very nostalgic the way that she writes. And there's also something very ethereal about it. Like everything is always more than just one thing. Like it's feeling and action and thought and all of that kind of stuff wrapped up into one. And it's very pleasant to read that kind of language in a story. So I've been enjoying myself with it. It's nice having the time to read now, which I didn't have before. I definitely missed reading all the time like I used to. And so this month has been fantastic for me because it's all been about writing and reading and enjoying myself, doing the things that I love. I got in about 477 words. Yeah, I still think that's a respectable amount of words to get done. I'm up past 23,000 in my word count, which is a very nice place to be. I definitely think there's a nice amount of tension, and I finally got to the point where the sister is outright denying the main character her chance to, or the idea that she might be able to go to the school. So there's a lot of potential for where it could go from here. But I definitely want to wrap this scene up pretty soon and move on to the next bit, because the next bit is going to start getting into really important territory in this story. Do you ever have one of those days where you're in the perfect mood to get stuff done, and then one thing happens to sort of throw a wrench in your plans and it's hard to get over it? Because that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. But I also think part of my problem might be, I've been thinking about this for a couple of days now. I think I made a mistake by making my story first person. I'm wondering if, especially first person limited, I'm wondering if it would have been better to do it as third person omniscient, or even just third person with the focus being on the one character. Third person limited that way. Yes, can I help you? And I think that by restraining myself with the first person narrative viewpoint, I'm not getting in as good of a story as I possibly could. If I did third person omniscient, what I could do is also follow along her sister, who I also wanted to be an important part of the story, and even along with Roth, because he's turning out to be more important than I had initially planned as well. And having those three perspectives weaving together to form a story. I do typically use the first person perspective a lot more often, so I'm not as practiced with third person, but I am capable of it. I don't know, maybe I should just switch over. I mean, it's weird switching tenses like right in the middle of your story, but at the same time, it's not like I can't go back and fix the rest of it when I get a chance. Yeah, I think I can be happy with that idea. I think I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a third person. Welcome to CC Writes. My name is CC Lepke, and today is day 12 of NaNoWriMo, but I'm about to hit the halfway point. It's a very exciting day for me. 25,000 words is a very difficult thing to do, even in the 15 days that it's expected for you to take to get there. And I have done it with 3 days to spare, and I could not be happier about that. So I am fully ready to get into this and to do the writing that I need to do to get to that point and past it. Yeah. So last time in my story, I was finally starting to get to the point where my characters are taking action and doing something to try and help the puka who has lost his daughter. Also, last time I changed my story. Instead of doing first person perspective, I am now doing third person perspective, which is a huge shift, but I like the tone that it's giving my story so far, and I'm very excited to explore that further. Yeah, so I'm officially at 25,000 words. Very exciting. I'm halfway done with the NaNoWriMo word count goal. I have a lot to be proud of for this month. Honestly, I've never been this far ahead before, so this is a really good place to be. Right now in the story, I'm just kind of showing the attitudes of the other fairies, the ones that live in the swoop, which is the slums, and how there's a difference between the fae that live in the swoop versus the fae that live in Garbage Town, which is the shanty town that's at the top of the swoop. The rest of the fae definitely don't like the Garbage Town fae because most of them are what would be considered blood traders to the rest of the fae, which means that they've taken a contract with an elemental, which gives them the ability to use magical power. Lena the sister of the main character seems to be pretty happy with her choice. Like, she feels like she's better than everyone else, even though she's had to sacrifice so much to get that power. The main character, Katarina, she could honestly go without it. She would much rather just be a magical engineer, but she's also the one that was the first to take on a contract. And then Lena eventually followed. So there's this fun dynamic between these two characters of Lena is stronger and has more contracts, but she isn't interested in that power completely. And Lena loves that power, but she's only capable of having one contract and isn't as strong as her sister. So to have that juxtaposition between their characters and their interests, I think is a really fun element of their relationship within the story. I finally got around to following other writing streamers on Twitch, and I was pretty excited to see other people do some of the same stuff that I do on here, and seeing the way that they do it, because it's really nice to compare what I do and see if there are any ways that I can improve. I really love the idea of having just a full community on here and as many people that I could support as possible in whatever little way that I can. So I'm having trouble with my audio today because usually I have the lapel mic that I use, and that one is easy to switch between the different screens so that I can set it to where you hear me or you don't hear me, however I want it to work. But my battery on the receiver is dead, and I don't have any extra ones, so I had to use the computer's microphone, and I don't have it set up as nicely as the audio capture that I had previously. But I'll have some more batteries tonight once I go to the grocery store to get them. And I'll be able to fix that problem real quick. So I had a bit of a mouse emergency just now. There was a mouse that ran through my room, and I had to call my husband to to come and try and figure out what to do about it. Mice don't bother me too much, but they have a tendency to crawl up on our counters, and that is gross, and I don't like it. So I got about 539 words in this time, and I'm still tracking along really nicely. So my total word count so far is 26,305 words. I am proud of myself. That's a good amount. So while my husband is working on the mouse, I am going to go ahead and do the fourth writing sprint for today. Got in about 623 words during that time. I'm up to 26,928 words in my NaNoWriMo story. That is really awesome. I'm well past the halfway point. It's only the 12th day of November, so getting that far is definitely putting me in a really good place. I'm so happy that I've been able to put in this effort into it and get all these words done. So yeah, I'm happy with all of the threads that are set up here and the little story elements that each one is nicely leaning into the thing that comes next. It's nice to feel like I have some control over my story sometimes. All right, and so that was my last writing sprint for the day. I feel good about where I'm at, and I'm going to go ahead and sign out for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me today on CC Writes. I hope you enjoyed our time together, and I will see you later. Welcome to CC Writes. My name is Cece Lepke, and today I have only slept for 4 hours. I stayed up really late last night reading a book and then started freaking out in the middle of the night because I couldn't find the next book in the series. And so then I stayed up even later looking for it. And I ended up undoing my entire bookshelf and then re-alphabetizing everything and putting it back on, trying to find it, only to remember that I did not own those books. I rented them from the library. So I'm exhausted for no reason, and I'm here to write. I'm in a really good place for NaNoWriMo. So today I'm just gonna try and take it easy. I'm not gonna push myself too hard, but I'm still gonna try to at least get the daily word count in, and that's my goal for the day. Despite being tired, I still managed to get a decent word count in. That's always a nice benefit to have. Unis Honest is doing their 12-hour stream today to end their channel, and I was watching a little bit of it earlier while I was getting ready. I was having a lot of fun with that. I've really enjoyed watching their channel up to now, and I'll be disappointed to see it go, but I love the whole concept of it. I think it's a beautiful idea to only have, 365 days to create your whole channel, and then once you're done with that time, you just completely delete it and live with the memories of it instead of the permanence of the internet. Oh, and today is Friday the 13th as well. I'm not really superstitious, so it doesn't mean much to me, but I always like the idea of Friday the 13th. There's something fun about it, like it's a holiday or something. When I was growing up, my mom would always, anytime she saw a black cat, she was one of the people that would, exit out so that she wouldn't get the bad luck from it or whatever. And I also know that black cats are the ones that don't get adopted very easily from shelters and things like that because people are superstitious, which is sad because black cats are the most beautiful ones, I think. Like, you have the calicos and the Persians and Siamese and all the different, pretty breeds and everything, but I think there's something very beautiful and mysterious about a black cat. When I was little, we had a cat named Gypsy that she was black, and she was ornery as all get out. She used to steal food off of our table and run away with it, like grab a whole piece of chicken and like a drumstick and just run off. My mom hated her so much, but I loved her. She was one of my favorite cats that we had. I feel like I could fall asleep at the table right now, and I'm trying not to be boring. My story is going places. At this point, I'm not cognizant enough to know if any of those places are good, but I'm sure some of them are, maybe. I hope. I'm a little worried about going too far into it today with how tired I am. The last time I kept writing despite the fact that I was exhausted, I ended up having to get rid of all of it, and I really don't want to have to do that again. I think for today I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits early, just so I can get a little extra sleep in and recover so that tomorrow I won't have as much of a problem. So I am sorry that I'm gonna end it a little bit early today, but thank you very much for joining me today on CC Writes. I hope you enjoyed our time together, and I will see you later.